The media looking increasingly out of touch with ordinary Americans after stunning comments from a New York Times editorial board member who calls it, quote, disturbing to see, quote, dozens of American flags on trucks. That's right, you heard me correctly. And she has some thoughts on how Trump supporters interpret the flag's meaning. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany, and here today, my co-host Harris Faulkner and Emily Compagno, host of Kennedy on Fox Business, Kennedy, and in the center virtual seat, founder of Turning Point USA, the brilliant Charlie Kirk. Mara Gay of the New York Times, who is also an MSNBC contributor, going off after saying she witnessed Trump supporters in pickup trucks on Long Island, New York, over the weekend, waving flags, suggesting it is a threat to our democracy.
The reality is here that we have a large percentage of the American population. I don't know how big it is, but we have tens of millions of Trump voters who continue to believe that their rights as citizens are under threat by simple virtue of having to share the democracy with others. I think as long as they see Americanness as the same as one with whiteness, this is going to continue. We have to figure out how to get every American a place at the table in this democracy, but how to separate Americanness, America, from whiteness. Until we can confront that and talk about that, this is really going to continue. I was on Long Island this weekend visiting a really dear friend, and I was really disturbed. I saw, dozens and dozens of pickup trucks with explicatives against Joe Biden on the back of them, Trump flags, and some cases just dozens of American flags, which is also just disturbing because essentially the message was clear. It was, this is my country. This is not your country. I own this. And so until we're ready to have that conversation, this is going to continue.
Charlie, you can hear Mika Brzezinski there in the background going, yep, right in step with this absurd commentary. Why is it that liberal elected officials or those in the media tend to summarily categorize Trump voters or conservatives? If you look at Hillary Clinton, we're in the basket of deplorables. Peter Strzok, we're smelly hillbillies. CNN pundits saying we're rubes who cannot locate countries on the map. And of course, Joe Biden recently saying, if you open your state, you're a Neanderthal.
Yeah, I think that this individual who works for the New York Times, I think she's making way too much out of just seeing American flags on a weekend in Long Island, trying to sound really intelligent and smart. But a couple points. First, symbols matter. And so a nation has hopefully a shared history and culture and traditions. So when I see the American flag, I don't see what she sees. I see that flag that was triumphantly and heroically rose at Iwo Jima. I see a flag where we had hundreds of thousands of veterans that sacrificed their lives for our country. I see a flag that has been a beacon for freedom and liberty all across the world. And everyone sees that flag and it means something similar and a little bit different. But basically the unifying principle is that we're all made in the image of God, regardless of skin color and regardless of your own personal religious beliefs. But this country has worked because that flag transcends all of those pre-existing kind of tribalism, it seems, that we're trying to get back into. The second piece is this. It seems as if there is an incentive structure to try to be mad about nothing at the New York Times. It seems that the business model is try to find hate where it doesn't exist and ignore it where it does. And I really want to get back to a place where we can at least agree that flying the American flag is generally acceptable and someone's not doing that to try to protect or advance some sort of racial stereotype.
That's right. Kennedy, what is it about the American flag that's so triggering to people these days?
Man, I don't know. I would encourage Mara to go travel, because when I go surfing in Costa Rica, all I see everywhere are Costa Rican flags that say Pura Vida, because people are stoked about where they live. We're coming up on the 4th of July. People are excited. They have been locked up inside. It is Independence Day on July 4th, and people are desperate to celebrate their independence with friends and family members. And maybe people don't equate the flag with whiteness. Maybe they equate it with freedom and liberty. She should ask them. She should sit down and have a conversation with people, because maybe her interpretation of the word whiteness is different from someone else's interpretation of the word whiteness. And, having joy and pride in where you live that's a good thing. And even though maybe your candidate didn't win, the fact that you're still waving the flag says that you believe in this country. You also believe in the Constitution. And one of the things codified in the First Amendment is freedom of speech. And that's what people are doing when they're waving flags. People like her would like to be the speech police and take down those flags and re-educate people so they only express the correct symbols.
And Harris, maybe that's just it. You know, if she's in this echo chamber on an MSNBC set, I wonder how much she's traveling outside of her New York Times editorial board meetings. You know, I was with you in Iowa. We talked to voters. I was a guest on your show, a special you were doing, traveled the country. I've been to many Trump rallies. There are incredible Americans of all backgrounds who come and have supported this cause for a reason or a purpose. And maybe she just needs to go out and meet some of these voters.
Yeah, I mean, you know, gosh, Charlie, you know I adore you, and I break with you on this point. I don't think it is fake hate and fake outrage that's going on there. I think the real hate is coming from her. She's showing you who she is. She hates anybody who's running with that Trump flag. When she looks out, I mean, you can disguise it as fear and threat, but underlying, we know what real discrimination looks like and what real hate looks like. I'm afraid of the other. Let's root it out. I mean, we should know that from our own American history and the diversity fight that we had all along. Now it's in the reverse. And she's saying that when you look at the American flag, you're supposed to see it a certain way. Well, then that certain way had better be about the home of the free and the brave, because if it's not about that, then she's trying to tell us what it looks like, and us, the rest of America. She doesn't know necessarily how anybody votes. She sees a Trump flag. She doesn't know what policies of his that they liked, that they didn't like. She assumes everybody is the same. She paints everybody with the same brush. And I don't agree that that's fake outrage and fake hate. I think it's very real. And if you want to talk about a threat, talk about the threat of somebody who doesn't celebrate, but actually cannot stand the idea of people who do not agree with her and her principles and the people that she agrees with. I mean, that is a stifling of free speech, as Kennedy says, that's dangerous.
It is dangerous. And she has a history of painting with a broad brush. We have a clip from the week prior on MSNBC from Mara Gay, if we can roll that tape.
Americans, especially white Americans, but Americans in general, tend to be very good at forgetting history, but also tend to think that slavery was a very long time ago and that discrimination was a very long time ago.
Yeah, I just don't understand, Emily, this idea of identity politics and putting everyone in one box and painting them with a broad brush. I'm a white American. I remember slavery. I know about our country's painful history, and I'm not trying to brush that away. But for her to say, just simply because of the color of my skin, I don't appreciate the horrific things that happen to Black Americans in this country, it just seems so stereotypical.
It's an incredible concept to have people who are shouting from the rooftops, demanding that they not be judged for certain immutable characteristics, that they be given a, quote, place at the table that she talks about, and then turns around and absolutely vilifies others for even existing in that way. That flag is so much bigger than her. That flag is so much bigger than anything, any vile comment that comes out of her mouth, perpetuating exactly the divisiveness and racism and otherizing that she proclaims to be against. It's really frightening, and my only hope is that she sort of is put back in the fringe element of that party and not given any more space to take up with these horrible comments. She's also said, to your point, Kayleigh, that, and again, the hypocrisy of her claiming, including in the intro, that she wants to give everyone a place to speak. Remember, she came out and said that the Rubin report has hosts white supremacists, and she asked former presidential candidate, now New York mayoral candidate Andrew Yang, why have you gone on this show with Dave Rubin? To which Dave Rubin and many people responded, name one. Name a white supremacist that has been on the Rubin report. Back up your claims, not just calling people horrible names, not just coming out with accusations and attacks that don't ring hollow, that might have a really severe impact on someone's reputation. Back up your claim with facts. She has yet to do so or apologize. And the whole point is that she's coming out and claiming that others don't deserve to be given any space to share their opinion. Perhaps the reason why they respect and put their hand over their heart before the flag, but where they stand for the flag, why they pay honor to all those who laid their lives down for what that flag represents. But unfortunately, she's simply just another hypocrite and frankly, a waste of space.